Hello gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Keysworn and some of you may know me as Tenek127 Gaming, and welcome back to another video. And guys, in today's video I got a really interesting one that I want to show y'all and talk to you guys about. However, if you want to stay up to date on all things, that's right, Wizard 101. Make sure you are liking today's video, subscribing to the channel if you are new, and let's go ahead and get right on into today's topic. So, me and the bros, the other day, by the way, make sure y'all check out my FPS channel if you haven't, Tenek FPS. But we were playing some Ready or Not the other day, and I was telling them that, that I noticed Wizard 101 was in the Xbox store, free to play. It's on game preview right now and all that fun stuff. And they were talking about, how they enjoyed the game as kids and all that. And me personally, I never played Wizard 101 as a kid. Never tried the game out, never touched it or anything like that. I always saw the commercials, I saw the little advertisements for it. It didn't really, just look like something I wanted to play when I was a kid, and as shocking as this may sound to some of you guys, I was always just a console guy, I loved playing my Nintendo, my Sega Genesis, and my, my PlayStation, Dreamcast, and all that fun stuff. Well, I finally got the time to visit this very different MMORPG, and I want to talk to you guys about what I think about the game so far and all that. Like I said, it's on Xbox, available on Series X and S. Game preview, 100% free to play. All the content is there. The in-game store is there. The only thing that's missing is I believe like the game's subscription or something like that. And I don't know if that's a required subscription. I don't know if it's optional. I don't know much about Wizard 101 or how it works. I just want to give you guys my impressions of the game. So, is this an MMO that I recommend you dive into, go hardcore on and get yourself involved and invested the way you would for something like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV, or Elder Scrolls Online or something like that? Not exactly. But is it a bad game? Is it, is it outdated? Is it good for this time period? Well, that's going to depend on you. So, when I look at Wizard 101 right now, there's definitely, a lot of outdated stuff here. I'm sure you guys can tell just by looking at the visuals. The visuals are probably on par with something, like World of Warcraft. But World of Warcraft still stands up today. People enjoy its visual style and stuff like that. So I'm not going to knock how Wizard 101 looks. But if I could rewind time and go back to my childhood and look at the time where Wizard 101 was really popular and popping off, I can definitely understand the appeal. So the combat in this game is actually card and turn-based. It's basically, just a turn-based battle system where you use different cards that have different monsters you can summon to attack the enemy, different spells you can cast, and all kinds of things like that. So in an era, where Harry Potter was super popular, Pokemon cards and collecting them were a thing, and turn-based RPGs were in their absolute prime. I can definitely understand why a turn-based MMORPG where you played a wizard and used a card system would have definitely been popular. If this would have came out on console, years ago, I'm talking, 90s, early 2000s, they would have put this game on like the PS2 and the Dreamcast and the original Xbox, and just kept it going with crossplay and did all the stuff that they're doing now with it. If they would have did it back then, I know they probably didn't have the tech to do it back then, and the consoles may or may not have been powerful enough to do it. I personally believe they could have, because like I said, these visuals of this game, they're equivalent of something on like PS2 or PS3. But I think if they would have made these moves back then, this game definitely would have popped off. I'm not saying it didn't pop off, but it would have went insane, a lot more insane than it did when it was very, very popular. Now, is it, a fun title and everything that I recommend you check out? Yeah, definitely. And I'm not saying it's not going to appeal to you guys. I'm not saying, to steer yourselves away from it. It's just compared to how games look now and the type of, appeal that people are looking for in an MMORPG now, I just don't know if this is going to do it for a lot of you guys. Like, look at things like, like Black Desert and of course, like I said, Final Fantasy 14, Elder Scrolls, and stuff like that. Look at those games and then come back and look and play this. This is a completely different visual style, a completely different pace, a completely different environment, just a whole different style of MMO. And like I said, don't get me wrong, the game's actually fun. I've actually, enjoyed what I've played. My first impressions of it are pretty positive. I think the combat system's fun and everything, but it's a different type of MMORPG, a different type of pace, and I just don't know if this is going to stand up with the test of time, with everything we have out now. Are there going to be people that are hyped that this is on console finally and all that stuff? Hell yeah, definitely. Wizard 101, it's a popular game at the end of the day, and I am sure this console version is going to bring this game a lot more success. I just personally don't know, if this is going to be something that appeals to a lot of you guys, how if a lot of y'all are even going to bother with it, or if if you're just holding out hope for the next big, like more modern, action combat style MMORPG. Because here's the thing, this is an MMO. There's PvP, there's player housing, there's guilds, there's raiding, there's all kinds of great end game and stuff like that to do in this game. But like I said, it's a completely different style, it's a completely different pace, and it's just different than a lot of the things we've been given in the past decade or so, and a lot different than the things that we're expecting from developers nowadays. Is it a solid game though? Yeah. Would I definitely recommend you guys check it out? Hell yeah. But like I said, and the only thing I'm just warning you is it's very different. All right, it's a different kind of experience. But if you're someone who likes turn-based RPGs, and and you're really heavy on mages and stuff like that, and you like that older style look of game, you guys should definitely check out Wizard 101. I think it's a pretty fun time. Like I said, it's a different pace for an MMORPG. It definitely surprised me though. But anyway, guys, let me know y'all thoughts down in the comments below. Have y'all tried Wizard 101 on Xbox yet? Let me know. Y'all enjoyed today's video? Smash that like. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.